Hello Science Alliance, my name is Lara, I'm your home ed science teacher for today. We are on lesson 4 of materials. Okay, so materials in science just means stuff that things are made from. So it could be wood, metal, glass, we've looked at plastic, but today we're looking at like material. Yeah, textiles, fabric, cloth. We'll talk a little bit about what those different words mean a bit. But your first exercise, I asked you to write down all the different ways you can think of that we use fabric, not including clothes. That's too easy. So I want you to just get a bit of exercise and just for us to try and appreciate how amazing fabrics are. I'm going to give you one wormy timer's worth of time. I don't know how much time it is, but you've got until the rainbow reveals Wormy and her family to visit different rooms in your house and see if you can add, please, 5 more things to your list. Okay, go! The worm is ticking. This is harder for you because this is good actually, better brain exercise for you because on Facebook there's comments and people can bounce off each other, but you're going to have to increase your list yourself. And then I'll tell you what the others said yesterday and I'll tell you what I got. Although you were coming up with a lot better stuff than me when I did this lesson yesterday on Facebook. We're about a quarter of the way through. Go on, all different rooms in your house. I can hear you screaming at the screen. I'm so sorry, I can't hear you. But I sort of know. Have you said things like carpet? Blind, somebody said the other day. I hadn't thought about that. Someone said hot water bottle cover, which is obviously genius. You ready? You ready? No, I mean, don't be ready. It's only halfway through. Keep going. 5 more. If you can make it more than 5, fantastic. Someone was saying bath mat. Someone went into the bathroom and said shower curtain, which again was a good move. I've got duvet cover. Someone said book cover, like you could cover, sometimes old books get covered with fabric. Toys, obviously. I think my favourite one was sail. I don't think someone got that from being around their house, but yeah, the sail on a yacht, absolutely. Okay, the little baby Wanda and Wilhelmina have been revealed. So, come back. These are what I got. Like towel, tea towel, umbrella, napkin, reusable sanitary incontinence, nappy products, duvet, furniture, carpet and blanket. I'm sure you've got a lot more. I don't know about you, when I started looking around my house, I got a little bit confused and was like, is a waterproof coat fabric? Or is it just like, when does that just become a piece of plastic? What about sieve? Is that material? What about cling film? Kind of behaves the same way. What is a textile? So we need to talk about that first. Come here. So I said, could you bring some toilet roll? Get a piece of toilet roll now. I'll take these gloves off. What a textile actually is if you get a piece of toilet roll and just kind of brush it, you should see that little bits of paper come off it, yeah? Like teeny tiny little flecks. They are fibres. Tiny little fibres. Your toilet roll is made of fibres. And all textiles are made out of fibres. Basically like, you know, short or very long, kind of stringy things that you can weave together magically. Didn't research that bit. And make long strands that you can, you know, make clothes with and stuff. So the difference between textiles and fabrics. Fabrics, you can make them into other things. So, you know, like you get a piece of material, you could turn that into a bag or some clothes. Whereas textiles, they can be the finished product, I think. So like a carpet would be a textile. You don't usually make a carpet into something, so it wouldn't be a fabric. And cloth, I think, is just like a piece of sort of fabric that's been cut. We're just going to say fabric, material, textile, cloth to mean kind of all the same thing. So yeah, it got me thinking, like, is a sieve because are these fibres? Like, they're strands of metal, aren't they, that are woven together. We'll look at weaving later. And like, it's bendy. So what is a textile? I think it's anything with fibres. This hat is made entirely out of paper. So you might be thinking, is paper a fabric? Well, let me show you a little bit of research I did because I just got excited. This was very popular in the, they had a little phase in the 60s in America of making dresses out of paper. So it's not common, but you can do it. It's very traditional in Japan. And I want to talk a little bit about tapestries because this has blown my mind, right? Louis XIV of France, he had this incredible collection of tapestries. It was a series of 12 in particular that showed each month of the year. So this one that you're looking at is the Chateau of Monceau in December. Now, just a little admission here. This is exactly the kind of thing that I would walk past in a National Trust property and just go, material. And I read a blog where a tapestry expert said she totally understands that everyone feels that way, because we're very used to fabric and textile being like made super quickly now by machines in factories. We don't really tend to appreciate, we don't think of it as being something that a lot of skill has gone into. But this is from like the 1600s. So this is all done by hand. I just want to totally nerd into this tapestry, right? Just give me 1 minute and then we'll learn some more stuff about modern fabrics. So I just want to show you some details. This thing is enormous, right? Let's just close up on this little bit here. Look, there's a bit, look, just close in on this thing's head. That's material. Can you believe that? That's just strands. Here's another bit. These fruits, got totally obsessed with these as well. Look, you can go so close and it still just looks like a fruit. That's just made by hand, and all the different colours had to be knotted at the back when they moved on to a new colour. And finally, this guy in the corner, just like, oh, got a bit of space, better put something there. Look at the exquisite detail on that bit. Just amazing. Never going to walk past tapestry again. So, really the point was to say that a lot of these tapestries were burned during the French Revolution, right? The French Revolution, very basically, like very poor people who are very hungry and very frustrated, rising up and attacking the very rich people. So they burned a lot of these tapestries. Why? Why would they do that? Why would you burn the king's tapestry? I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Try and say it out loud. Well, you might well be saying something like for revenge, because it wasn't fair that the king was spending loads of money on tapestries if you're starving. You could have said, like, yeah, just to sort of make the king feel bad. Those things would be true, but also it's because the tapestries contain gold and silver thread, very thin metal wrapped around normal textile thread. And that melted when the tapestries were burnt and was collected. I can't imagine how small amount of gold and silver you must have got from those tapestries. But anyway, incidentally, the chateau in the tapestry also destroyed during the French Revolution. There's a little bit of history for you there. So, textiles have different properties depending on what they're made of. Can you get your staticky material out, please? Hopefully you've got something a bit woolly with you. And I asked you to bring a tea towel as well. So if you've got a tea towel, which you might not have, they're not that great, it turns out. We'll do an activity in a minute. If you've got a tea towel, I'm hoping that it's not covered in food. And I'm also hoping that you're not going to use it for food later. If both those things are true, well, first of all, give it a stroke. What do you feel? What does it feel like? Does it feel smooth? Does it feel rough? So we're going to look at where fabrics come from in a sec. But silk and cotton are both natural fibres, but silk is very, very shiny. Its molecules are just arranged in such a way that it reflects light. It's very shiny. Cotton, as you can see, is quite dull, really, isn't it? It's not shiny at all. If you've got some wool, give that a feel. You feel that it's quite scratchy. That's because wool, obviously, well, I'm going to give you a quiz in a sec, but wool is a natural fibre and it's got a natural kink in it. All those little fibres that you weave together to make threads of wool or put together, they've all got kind of little waves in them, and that means that it is a bit scratchier than the other fabrics, but it also means that it traps heat really well, yeah, because it's very good at trapping air. So it's an insulator, so it keeps warm air next to your body, so that's why it's very warm. Right, get the cotton first. You know what I'm going to say. Rub the cotton against your head. We haven't done this enough really recently. We sort of used to do this like once a month, rub something on our heads in theatre science. So get the cotton, as long as it's not covered in like bits of jam. Give it a rub against your head and see what happens. All right? Apart from you looking fabulous. Hold the cotton tea towel next to your head and see what you notice. Hopefully you're saying, not very much at all. Now let's do that again with the woolly thing. Or you might have brought something like polyester, you might have brought something like that, something staticky. Do it with the woolly thing and see what happens. Hey, can you see that now my hair is standing on end? and being attracted to the wool. Why is that? Better do both sides so I don't look weird. What is happening is that everything in the world is made of atoms. We've talked about this a lot, I don't want to go into it in too much detail, but everything in the world is made of these little particles called atoms that have a positive and a negative bit. And wool, the little negative bits, the electrons, get pulled off very easily. So what's happening is that the electrons on the wool are popping off and going onto your hair, which makes your hair more negative. And because the wool has lost electrons, that's more positive. So you've got like a more positive thing and a more negative thing. So they've been attracted to each other. Because, yeah, like I say, wool just happens to lose electrons very easily. So yeah, it's a good insulator, right? It doesn't let electricity sort of pass through, it doesn't let heat pass through it and the electrons pop off easily. Cotton, the electrons do not pop off very easily at all. So it's a good neutral fabric. You'll know if you wear cotton clothes, you pull them over your head, you don't get that staticky feeling like you do with wool. So, different materials have different properties. I'm going to give you my little sheet now. It is crammed with words, but hopefully you know some of it and not all of it. That's the idea. So here we go. The first thing I'd like you to do is match the fabrics to where they come from. So I've got a list of fabrics down the bottom here: linen, nylon, wool, silk, cotton, acrylic, and polyester. Linen, nylon, wool, silk, cotton, acrylic, and polyester. And a list of where they come from. So 3 times I've written that they're long particles made from oil and then spun into threads. Okay, so 3 of them are just come from oil in the ground that we've turned into threads. 1 of them is the fluff attached to a plant's seeds. 1 of them is protein made from a caterpillar's spit. 1 of them is an animal's coat. 1 of them is the stalk of a plant. And that's it. So when you've done those, fabric can be put into 2 categories. Can you guess what they are? So you could put all those fabrics that I've described into 2 categories. What are those categories? And question 3, as we've discussed, wool is warm, but it's itchy. Look at the label on an item of your clothing. Why do you think it was chosen? And can you think of any disadvantages? You might well find if you check your clothes that you've got a mixture of fabrics. So you could think about why they've mixed those fabrics together. And what are the advantages and disadvantages of that? I'll give you, I think my last question's a bit harder, so I'll give you 30 more seconds and then I'll go through the answers. Five seconds. All right, here we go. Let's go through these answers then. So the first one, all the ones that are made from oil are nylon and acrylic and polyester. There you go. We get oil out of the ground like we looked at in the plastics lesson. So they're all polymers, those. The fluff attached to a plant's seeds is cotton. And the protein from a caterpillar spit is silk. Let's just have a little chat about this. I hope you're not going to find this too upsetting, but I have to tell you what I found out. So yeah, cotton is, you know, like how on a dandelion, you've got the seeds attached to a little piece of fluff, and the fluff's there to help the seed float away and land somewhere so the plant can grow. Just the same with cotton. Cotton is a plant that the seeds happen to be covered in fluff to help them be dispersed. So we take the fluffy little bits of cotton and make it into clothes. It's amazing. But yeah, silk. So how they make silk is, you're going to find this quite sad. they get a big sort of piece of paper, and you heard of the silkworm. It's actually a caterpillar that turns into a moth. It's not a worm, but they encourage these little caterpillars to build their cocoon. And they kill all the caterpillars. They just like steam them. I'm sure they don't feel any pain, but that's what they do. They kill the caterpillars, and then they take the cocoons and they use them to make silk. And it's this incredible material. It's incredibly absorbent. It's really strong. It's very shiny because the way the particles, it loses electrons quite fast. So it's a bit staticky. But anyway, I mean, isn't this terrible? But India have stepped in and they've come up with a new way of making it. So in India, they've got this new silk where they let the caterpillars do their thing inside the cocoon and emerge as moths and fly away, and then they take the cocoons and make them into silk. The problem is, because the cocoons had a little bit longer to sit, the silk is a little bit rougher, and you don't get as much silk from the process. So it's also more expensive. So you've got this like more expensive and rougher silk, but lots of moths flying free. So apparently it is quite popular. People are buying it. So thank you, India. Well done. Let's carry on. I'm glad it's not Facebook because I can't see the crying faces. Wool, obviously, from an animal's coat, and linen is from the stalk of a plant. So this is a flax plant here, which is where linen comes from. It's the inside of this stalk that is what linen is made out of. So fabric can be put into two categories. Did you get it? One of them is synthetic. It's a nice word for made by humans. So that would be your nylon and your acrylic and your polyester, sort of essentially types of plastic, really. And natural. Made from substances occurring in nature, which is all the other ones. And finally, look at the label on your item of clothing. Why do you think it was chosen? So just some ideas as to why you're wearing what you're wearing. So cotton is very breathable. It doesn't make you sweaty. And it dries very quickly as well, which is super useful. But it can also be quite stiff if you use it on its own, and it creases easily as well. So we add stretchy, human-made fibres. Like, you won't see any Olympic athletes wearing cotton, because it's like, lets you breathe easily, it doesn't make you sweaty, and it dries fast, but you don't want anything stiff on your body, do you, if you're like trying to get the best ever javelin throw or whatever. So yeah, that's where man-made fibres come in. Linen is extremely strong, stronger than cotton. It's more durable, but the fibres are really densely packed, which make it quite scratchy and stiff. Again, if you've been to that National Trust property and like touched the bed, you find that old-fashioned linen is very scratchy. And human-made fibres on their own can be quite sweaty, the plastics. Right, let's soak and burn, people. So, did you bring a normal towel with you and a tea towel and some paper towel and some bog roll? If you haven't got a paper towel, well done you. Just use whatever you use to mop stuff up with. Or just use the other thing. So all we're going to do is dip a little bit of each one into some water and then squeeze it out into a cup, and we'll see which one is the most absorbent, which one collects the most water, and we will discuss why. Now, for this to be an experiment, everything would have to be the same except the material, which means we'd have to use exactly the same amount of material, dipping it in the water each time. That is just not going to happen, is it? Or maybe the same weight of material you'd have to use. The measurement I'm going to use today is the thumb. So hold out your thumb, drape your towel on top of your thumb, and then make a circle with your other hand and push it down, and then pull it off, and that is your thumb's worth of towel. This is so unscientific, I can't believe it, I'm so sorry. We're just going to dip the thumb's worth of towel into the water until it stops dripping, and then we're going to squeeze it out into a little cup and see how much water you collected, okay? So I've soaked my towel, pull it out, wait until it stopped dripping, more or less, and then squeeze it into a cup. Again, really, for science, I should have labelled the cup. I'm going to use blue because my towel is blue. So make sure you remember which cup you squeezed it all into. You want to make some predictions at this point? Which one do you think is going to be the most absorbent? What do you want to be the most absorbent? A towel, a tea towel, a paper towel, or a piece of toilet roll? Okay, which one would you want to absorb the most water? So I've done my towel, I'm going to put that to one side. Measure myself a thumb's worth of tea towel. There we go. There we go. We do need to do some work on the scientific method. So yes, if we were truly testing how much water each piece of material can hold, everything else would have to be exactly the same. So, wait till that stops dripping. So both your towel and your tea towel are almost certainly made out of cotton, yeah? But they're sort of totally different, aren't they? Partly that's because the threads have been put together in a different way, which we'll talk about in a minute. And partly that's because you get different fibre lengths of cotton. So if you've ever studied dandelions in great detail, of course you will find that, like humans, they're not all exactly the same. Some of them have got long bits of fluff, and some seeds will be connected to short bits of fluff. So humans, because we're amazing, have like collected all the little bits of fluff from the cotton plant and separated them out into short strands, long strands, and super long strands. Okay, I've got another cup with my tea towel's amount of water in, and I'm going to do the paper towel. So have you heard of Egyptian cotton? Very famous, very luxurious kind of cotton. That's the longest strands that you can get. Then use the longest strands of cotton, makes it softer when you put them all together. Okay, a thumb's worth of paper towel going in the cup. And towels that we use in our skin, they would use pretty long threads. And the shorter threads are quite scratchy, so that would be like your cheaper cotton. So if something says 100% cotton, it's not the whole story. Okay, wow, so this is really absorbent. It stopped dripping pretty fast. I'll squeeze that into a cup as well. That's my paper towel. So someone asked me last lesson, what's the difference between paper towel and toilet roll? And I didn't know. Obviously one is sort of thicker, and I looked it up. Okay, so I'm on my last cup now. That was my cup of water's worth of paper towel. It turns out toilet roll is designed to disintegrate really quickly because you don't want it all getting stuck in the pipes. Right, a thumb's worth of toilet roll now. So they tested, scientists have tested how quickly all the different types of basically stuff you use to wipe your bum with disintegrates. And toilet roll is really the only thing they said that disintegrates, like these wipes that call themselves flushable wipes. When scientists tested them, they did not disintegrate. Apparently they just got wrapped around the fan that they were using. Oh, toilet roll is absorbent. Paper towel, obviously, no way. That's why if you go into a toilet, you'll see signs saying don't flush anything except toilet roll down, because toilet roll is specially designed. Now, I did get very excited by this, and yesterday did an experiment by cutting a piece of paper towel to be the same size as a piece of toilet roll, and I left them both soaking in water, hoping that the toilet roll would disappear and the paper towel wouldn't. I don't know if that's happened. So this is my paper towel after like 24 hours of soaking in water. Wow, all right, no, that's pretty, that is quite interesting. If you, yeah, look, that's a paper towel after 24 hours in water. Let's have a look at the toilet roll. This is new to me too, guys. This is live science experiment. I haven't checked this yet. What do you think? Yeah, I guess it's, it's definitely broken up more, isn't it? Oh, okay, yeah, it's like a toilet roll milkshake. Okay, well that's good. That's encouraging. And obviously it makes sense that the thinner the toilet roll, the faster it dissolved as well. If you've got like, you know, I don't know what they're selling now, there's like quilted toilet rolls. Yeah, well, okay. So if I stir that, it's not disintegrating. There you go, try it yourself at home. If you've got a couple of different types of toilet roll, stick them all in water and see which one disintegrates first. Okay, let's have a look at the results. Ooh. So, my towel has absorbed, quite hard for you to make out the difference here, but my towel's absorbed loads. My tea towel's hardly absorbed any. My paper towel has absorbed quite a lot. And my toilet roll has absorbed a bit less than the paper towel. So we know why that is. I mean, probably, obviously everyone is different, and that's fine. Probably your paper towel in your house is being used to absorb more liquid than your toilet roll. So it needs to be made more absorbent. And your towel is obviously, absorbing water off your body. So I guess that's got to be more absorbent as well. Tea towels, now silk is incredibly absorbent. Really absorbent, really strong. Why don't we use silk for tea towels? Why do we use cotton, which, as I've just seen, is really not that absorbent? Well, one of the reasons is that silk is very expensive, and also silk is very, very difficult to wash. If you put silk through the washing machine, it'll just fall apart. So one of the reasons tea towels are like this is because if they're nice and thin, then they dry really fast, which is obviously useful, and you can just bung them in the washing machine again and again and again. But actually, you really shouldn't use them if you can help it. Turns out it's much more hygienic to let your pots dry naturally, because these tend to store bacteria. It's not as bad as the papers made out a few years ago. We're not all going to get food poisoning, but yeah, they're really not ideal. Right, shall we have a... Oh, okay, I did say we'd burn. We'll just quickly burn. I will burn. You can burn later. I'm going to post something on my Facebook page, which is brilliant. This like table of how all the different materials react and behave when you burn them. So I'm just going to give you a little flavour. I'm going to burn two things. A synthetic, remember that word? Synthetic, human-made, something that's made from oil that comes out of the ground. I'm going to burn a synthetic fibre, and I'm going to burn a natural fibre in no particular order, and I'd like you to tell me which one you think is which, okay? Oh, kids stole my scissors. Oh no. Sorry, kids. Watch, they're just here. Right, so let's do this one first. Actually, no, let's do this one first. Here we are. So yeah, obviously don't do this at home right now, but if you've got an adult at home who's willing to help you, I think this would be quite a fun thing to do after, because you could do it in a bit more detail. So here's the first one, just got a little snippet of material. Watch how it behaves. Can you tell me, do you think this is natural or do you think it's synthetic? So what are we observing? Well, it started burning really fast. It carried on burning when I took it away from the candle. Can you hear anything? No, me neither. I can see smoke. What else can we see? Let's pop that down there. There we go. So we've been, I don't know if you can see that, we've basically just been left with a little kind of white skeleton. Oh, can you hear? It's quite crispy. Okay, so decide now, do you think that was a natural fibre or do you think that was man-made? And I'll show you the opposite now. Go away. There we go. So here comes the other one. You ready? Whoa. Okay, so could you hear that? I wasn't talking because it was making a real roaring noise, and it melted. It's dripped onto the. What do you think that was? Look at that. That's sort of weirdly beautiful in a way. Yeah, it melted. It turned into a liquid. I'm going to do that one again because it was, dare I say, fun. Do this with an adult. Do it outside as well, by the way, in a very well ventilated area. I'm being totally serious. Right, go out you. Can you see that? Look. Oh, no, you can't. Where's the... There we go. It's gone all... Yeah, it's all... What does it look like? It actually kind of looks like oil, doesn't it? Okay, so you have probably guessed correctly that the first one was a natural fibre. When you burn natural fibres, then they... Well, yeah, they burn really quickly, and then you sort of get a kind of little skeleton of the thing that was there before. Whereas when you burn man-made fibres, they melt. Why is that? Oh, so much smoke. Yeah, why doesn't paper melt? Well, what it is, right, when something melts, just going to move all my stuff while that's over. Whew. When something melts, it's just the same particle, but kind of looser. So ice, we looked at when we did our Antarctica show the other day, particles of ice, they're just particles of water that are all bonded together, so they're staying quite still. And when you melt ice, then the water particles get more energy and they get closer together. But they're still water particles. So that's what happens when we looked in our plastic lesson, we looked at how plastic is like really long particles, like really long sort of strands of spaghetti all stuck together. When you heat up plastic, all the bonds holding the spaghetti strands together break and the spaghetti strands can sort of move around more. So it turns into a liquid. Whereas natural fibres, like cotton, they don't do that. I mean, they kind of, like they would melt, but they react with stuff too quickly. So they become different particles, like the particles that are inside paper or cotton or whatever. When they heat up, they start like popping apart and bonding with, say, oxygen in the air. So that's why they don't melt. It's good. Like I say, have a look on my Facebook page. Right, very quickly, I want to look at how different threads are put together, because this is something that excited me as well. And it affects its properties. So you can get knitted or woven, bonded or felted. Those are the four different ones. Now knitted we think of as being like woolly items, but not necessarily. Actually, I can pretty much all the clothes that you're wearing will be knitted. So knitted is, like you sort of know this already, Knitted is where you get one thread and you kind of loop it again and again and again. You can do it in various different ways, but you end up with a material that is quite stretchy, yeah, quite comfortable to wear. It's quite soft. So yeah, this jumper has been knitted, but actually, like my kids' pajamas, if I get everyone's favourite little magnifying glass type thing, and I hold it up against my daughter's pajamas, you'll see that the pattern is just the same, yeah, it's still knitted. Right, how do I do this? I've now got pajamas on my hand. Come here. Ready? So you can't really see from the outside, but if you go in, there, look, it's the same pattern, yeah? Oh, it's so cute. So most things, have a real good look at the clothes that you're wearing now. You will find that they are almost certainly knitted. Jabbing the screen with pajamas in my hand. The exceptions are the things you might find that are woven. So weaving, again, you probably know what weaving is. It's where you get straight strands and you weave strands between them. So knitted is one piece of wool that's kind of, I don't know, well, I'm not a knitter, but you know what I mean. You get these kind of beautiful little knitted patterns and it can stretch either way. Whereas if you weave something, it ends up looking more like a crisscross pattern. If you're in a position to go to your sofa, you will probably find that your sofa cushions have been woven. Here, come and have a look at this. There you go. Looks totally different, doesn't it? You can really see the strands all woven in between each other. And if you brought some jeans with you, then they have a special kind of weave that is sideways, but they're still, there you go, they're still woven. No, you can tell. It's very ditted? It's very different, isn't it, from the knitted. Actually, my tea towel is woven as well. Oh, I could just do this all day. I think weaving is generally, oh, it's not beautiful. Weaving is generally rarer, I believe, so your clothes will probably be knitted, mainly because weaving makes things quite stiff. But obviously sometimes stiff is good. Things that are woven tend to be stronger. That's why we use it for jeans. And yeah, you don't actually want, so we want our clothes to be stretchy, but like your cushion cover, you don't want it to stretch in the same place where you sit down on it every time and eventually end up out of shape. You want it to be quite stiff and not stretchy, so that's woven. The other two I said were bonded and felted. So felted is just getting fibres and kind of mashing them together with needles until they stick and you get felt, like this felt hat. Felting is not a very strong way of making a fabric. It tears quite easily, but it's warm and it traps air. And finally, the last one, oh, here it is. I was quite interested because I think probably before COVID, you would struggle to teach people about what a bonded fabric was. But actually, the fabric in these disposable masks and like PPE equipment, that's bonded. The bonded one, it's just, I'm doing this because it's just cheating. You just get the threads and you just like bond them together, you glue them together, usually with some kind of like glue or some chemicals. Felted, you usually use heat to get the fibres together, but bonded, you just stick it together. I'll show you what bonded looks like, shall I? It's pretty boring. I don't think teachers are supposed to say that, are they? Hey kids, take a look at this bonded fabric. Ooh, it's just, what is it? It's deadly dull, isn't it? Right. I think that is all I wanted to tell you. Yes, it is. It is really time for your questions. Your have you been listening questions / hey, do you fancy doing some GCSE questions? You ready? Yeah? All right, let's do it. So do the summary questions first if you like. I sometimes think they're harder though. That's weird, you're a bit low. Get one of my handy business cards that's got the wrong email address on and prop you up a little bit. There we go. Right, so if you're doing the GCSE questions, can you tell me which of the following is not biodegradable? Biodegradable basically means if you buried it, would a worm eat it and turn it into soil or not? Would a worm poo out cotton, silk, acrylic or wool? One of those, if you buried it in the ground, would just stay there pretty much forever. Which one is not biodegradable? Cotton, silk, acrylic or wool? Question number 2, which kinds of fabrics are A and B? So you've got a picture A of a fabric, it kind of looks like chainmail. It's just like one strand that's all swirly-whirly. And B is lots of crisscross lines. So which one of those might be bonded or knitted or felted or woven? Those are your choices. And summary questions. What two main categories are fabrics divided into? Give at least one example of each. At least one. I mean, that's a bit easy, really. I think you should give me at least two. And what are the different categories? And this is a tricky one. What are two differences and two similarities between silk and cotton? I think I probably should have said one difference and one similarity. If you get two differences, I'll be very impressed. But have a go at those. How are you getting on? I'll give you 30 more seconds. Not long answers, are they? Just a bit of thinking. 25 seconds. 15. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And okay, let's go through the answers. So the first one, well done if you got that it is acrylic, that is not biodegradable. A bit mean because you sort of had to know what biodegradable means, but if you came to the plastic lesson, that would have been a big help. Question number 2, a lot of people were struggling with this in the previous lessons. The first one, A, is knitted, and the second one is woven. Well done if you got those. I think that was harder than I thought, actually. And the first summary question, fabrics are divided into synthetic. You get half a mark if you said man-made, but let's remember the word synthetic. And the options I had for that were polyester or acrylic, or you could have had nylon or lycra or viscose, anything like that. Viscose, is that what I mean? No, move on, Lara. And natural, I've got wool, cotton, linen and silk. But you could have had other ones. You could have had hemp or even bamboo. It's absolutely incredible. They can make fabric out of like the little hairs on coconuts now. And two similarities and two differences. I put the similarities between silk and cotton are they're both natural, they're not man-made, and they're both breathable, and they're both quite strong. And the differences are, well, I put cotton's made from a plant and silk's made from an animal, which I think is a good one. I put silk's more expensive, but well done if you said you could have had that silk gets static and cotton doesn't. Or what else did we say? Oh, that silk is shiny and cotton isn't shiny. Any of those would have been good. So well done. I'm just lying out. This amazing Science Alliance Penny has a company making like kind of sanitary products for adults, like reusable products, and she's just sent me so much material. It's just incredible. Hers is the stuff that I was burning. I'm just lying it out to show you. Okay, you got this? Can I pull you up? Right, you lot, that is the end of the lesson, except if you have been on my Facebook page and left you a comment, I'm going to look for your comments now. Before I do that, I'll very quickly tell you how I do these lessons for free. This is just the best job ever. I just fell into this business model and I'm so happy with it, right? So what I do is, everything I do is free. Everything. There is no different. A viewer would experience zero difference between the people who pay me and the people who don't pay me, all right? I do shout outs and answer questions to anyone who emails me or writes on my Facebook page or uses the comments in the lessons. And the worksheets are free. You can get them from my Facebook group. And I do a homemade lesson every week. And I do a show with like a little Lego story time and an activity every week as well. And how it works is, if you go to my About section on YouTube, you get to this website called Coffee, where you can choose to pay me £5 a month. And for £5 a month, it keeps me going, doing all those lessons. And I'll even send you my magazine that I write. So happy am I that you are helping me for this to be my job, because it's amazing. So this is, yeah, I'm still going to send you this one. If you sign up today, it's a very good time to sign up, because this is the new Theatre of Science magazine, which is in envelopes, all addressed and stamped downstairs, and I'm going to post them as soon as I finish this lesson. So this one's on mould. You get a free biodegradable plastic bag. I know, I'm so kind. So that you can grow your own mould and then just dump it all. There's a choose your own adventure where you're working in a museum and you're a mould expert, and will you get fired? I don't know. There's a comic that my husband draws for me about the only British female to have a Nobel Prize in Science. I'd never heard about. I'm so ashamed. So that's coming out basically now. But if you sign up now, because I had a few of the last one left over and I know a lot of you are studying rainforest, I'll send you the rainforest issue as well, which is, to be honest, equally cool. I'm really proud of the Science magazine. I actually get to like hone it to perfection before I send it to you. I've got another Choose Your Own Adventure and a cartoon about an insect expert who went to visit some cannibal tribes, and I'm super proud of it, and thank you to everyone who's supporting me. There's also rainbow glasses and badges and stuff. I'll just send you super nice things, because like I say, I hope it's coming across how grateful I am that this job is amazing. Right, just going to come to my comments now and see what you lot have been saying. Here we go. Who's here? Oh, yes! Loads of comments. Brilliant. If you haven't commented, this is probably going to be very dull and you can go and enjoy your day. But I'm going to read what people have said. Or comments. Here we go. Oh, hello, Robin and Liz and Hissy, the toy pet snake who's joining in. Nice. Hi, Hissy. Hi, dude. Sorry, that was really patronising, Hissy. Oh, yeah, Jack and Mary here. Ace. I was just looking at the envelope with your name on it and being very relieved that all the little apostrophes and commas have come out correctly, so yours will be sent with everyone else's this time. Why is chat disabled on YouTube? Oh, hello, Olivia. Yeah, exactly. What Kim says. Exactly. Strictly speaking, and you'll see people not following that rule, but really, if it's aimed at children, you're not allowed to have the comments on. And to be honest, Olivia, I actually like that, because on Facebook I feel like everyone's got a profile, and as an adult, if someone's been commenting under my Facebook name, I know straight away, and there would be trouble. Whereas on YouTube, it's a bit more anonymous. Like I've watched lessons on YouTube where people have been saying, "Oh, how old are you?" It's like, I don't know, it feels creepy. So there's no comment. Also, some people quite like that there's no comments, because it feels more like I'm just talking to them and getting on with it. Oh, hello. Think about the millions of stitches in the tapestry. Yeah, Abby, does paper count as textile because it's made out of fibres? Yeah, well, I think so. It all seems pretty loosey-goosey, to be honest. If I'm perfectly honest with you, those GCSE questions were design technology questions and not like science questions. So I don't think the definitions are that clear. I mean, I'm wearing this and it's 100% paper. So, I think so, yeah. Oh no, Olivia was still crying. Oh, hello! Suki and Arza and Eunice. Oh, hello. Laura couldn't find it because I was late. Laura, I hope you found it. Found it! Yes! I hope you're still here. Hello, thank you. Well done. I was thinking, oh no, everyone's going to be thinking that I haven't come on. Good. Wormy is felted. Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Why didn't I use my gorgeous Wormy that Alexis sent me as an example of felting? Yeah, Wormy is felted. I've never tested her tensile strength, and I never will. Look at her face. Olivia's here. Oh, lampshade. No one got lampshade. Oh, yeah, backpack. Yo-yo string. Nice. Very good. Yeah, I didn't get any of those. Oh, hello, Samuel. I didn't see you there. Rocking a lot of fabric in your profile photo. Yeah, I did. I clocked my guitar case earlier and I thought, oh, that's one that I didn't get. Oh, yeah. Textile. It's all around us. Okay, I'm going to go to the post office. Thank you, Laura, for sticking around. I'm glad you found it. And yeah, that's it. Bye, Robin and Liz and Hissy. Thanks for tuning in, Hissy. What are you made of? And I will see you at the weekend for the Penguins show. That's going to be, I think that's, yeah, that is the last show. Because the next Saturday, it's all the birthdays in the world in my house. So yeah, Penguins is the last show for half term, and next week is also the last home ed lesson until and then a week's break, and then again for astronomy. All right, thank you so much, you lot. I'll see you soon. Bye, but check your post soon.